Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 15. It is called The Invaders. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. The premise of this episode is that a woman on her own, who is simply credited as Woman, so we will refer to her as Woman for the rest of this. She's on her own in a little hut, a little house, out in the middle of nowhere. She's making dinner, big pot. She's making a bit. Honestly, it's a lot of food for one person. I guess she's making like a week's supply or something because she's making it. It's like a
witch. Like a cauldron.
Yeah, it was like the amount of like vapor coming off of it was cauldron levels. It looked mist.
I think there's a reason for that.
You do?
I'm gonna wait till you're done.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So basically, an alien ship that's quite small in size lands on the roof of the house, and these miniature little aliens in these little suits, they're basically toys, and they look like toys, but they're hunting her throughout the house, and she's like scared, and she's running, and she's diving and ducking, and that's the episode. There's a twist ending. That's it. That's the whole thing. In fact, I'll be impressed if we get past 10 minutes on this one. I really will be. Which is not to say anything good or bad about it. I'm not revealing how I feel yet, but it is very straightforward in how much is in it. And no dialogue, but barring like one small thing. But there's no, and there's actually a reason for that as well. There's a good reason for it. So, there we go. That is The Invaders. Tara, what did you think of The Invaders?
I liked it.
Yeah, there you go. That was short and sweet. Yes. No, I also enjoy it. It's a bit goofy in places because of how bad the little toys look, because they're meant to be.
They look like toys.
Beings,
I know. And she's so afraid of them, and they're like, oh, they're just little wind-up toys. I mean, apparently they're not. They're puppets. And every time they shoot at her, she gets blisters.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be honest. That kind of took me a minute to realize that's what that was. I thought it was something like. Additionally, what I thought like they were also like giving her like cancer or something, like because of their aliens and they're spreading stuff.
They brought smallpox with them.
Yeah, and then it occurred to me, oh no, that's meant to be with the laser blasts are hitting there.
Yeah, they're the bullet wounds. Yeah.
Yes.
They're the laser wounds.
Yes. So I think there's the small issue of like she goes from 0 to terrified immediately, and despite the fact that they're tiny, like maybe the one thing that would improve this would be like. Oh, she's more curious at first, and then one of them hurts her, and then she gets scared, and it's okay. But she goes immediately to, oh my god, I'm dying, without any dialogue. She's silent the whole time. There's screaming, but no.
Well, she is an old woman who lives by herself.
True, but I mean, she's got experience. She's seen some shit. She's
something's going on in her home.
It's the problem people bring up when they talk about the Chucky movies is like, yeah, but he's like 2 foot tall, you just kick him away, you're fine. Like, why worry about it? This is even that to the extreme because they're so small, and there's two of them.
Well, people are afraid of spiders. They're like 1/1,000,000th your size.
That's true, but they can move, they can scutter about really quickly. I think it's the legs that get people over those. Right? These things are like really really clunkily.
Yeah. I don't have any like action figures or dolls, but yeah, they just kind of waddle, and then the hand comes up. Everything's like a real. When they fall too, they fall like toys. They don't. Gravity doesn't seem to work.
Yeah,
in their favor. I don't know.
It says that we're making fun of it, and we are kind of, but it's not because it doesn't work.
They are goofy, but it's still like really fun, and it's. I think of it as a retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk, except from the perspective of the giant who's just there, and these little people show up and start terrorizing her in her home.
I can see that comparison. I think
it looks like a cauldron. I think it's supposed to be like the fairy tale analogy of like she's hungry. Like Rod Serling in the beginning says, she's just struggling for food. Like maybe she would try to eat them. I don't know.
So the concepts I think are good. The concepts are why I think this works. I think the direction's also pretty strong because it is just one person on her own hiding, and the shadows. They play a lot with the light. There's a lot of candles that go out because she knocks them over, or she'll light a new candle. There's a lot of playing with the light and darkness of it, which it kind of has to do. But it's one person just sneaking around a house on their own. It's not even that big a house. you have to have a lot of interesting visuals and camera work to go along with it to keep the momentum going. And I think it does that fairly well.
Mhm.
It's just the toys themselves that are meant to be the little aliens that are a little goofy because they're just toys. But that works, and like I say, you get the little alien guns. You get her like grabbing one, putting it in a sheet, and like whacking it off the bed. You get her, she kills one outright. The flying saucer on the house, which is kind of traditional flying saucer, although I would say it's a bit more, I guess, rigid than that, like, in the sense that this is literally like a ball with like a plate around it, as opposed to like an
Yeah.
actual flying saucer in your head, which I think is more of a smooth transition to the round part.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but other than that,
It's a cool model. I like when the staircase opens up and you can see a shadow that also looks like a toy kind of moving. It's a little goofy, but I think overall the episode really works.
yeah, that's the thing. There's not a whole lot to talk about in the. Obviously, we'll talk about the ending in a minute because that's really the main thing to talk about. But there's not a lot to talk about in the progression because it really is just she sees one, she hides, the other one starts coming in. There is quite a funny element because it introduces with the camera. It really emphasizes like the knife rack she has, and then later
Mhm.
on, one of the toys has the knife, so that we see the knife coming like through the door when she's like trying to open the
That
handle and
must have
stuff.
been like a huge manga anime sword to that little toy.
What you're saying is it must have felt like Final Fantasy, as we say.
Yeah, yeah, that little
Yes.
toy.
Yeah.
That thing would
No.
have been huge. But I like
So.
when it comes out of the bag, like it's trying to defend himself.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's good. And
And
then
the toys themselves, they look a lot like Forbidden Planet robot.
they
Um,
do. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I think was a cool was a cool choice, I thought.
Yeah. I guess keep in mind, Forbidden Planet would have been relatively new when this episode aired. I mean, this
Hmm.
episode aired in January 1961. Uh,
Mm.
so this would have been a relatively, because I think Forbidden Planet is like 57 or 58. I want to say. I think it's towards the end of the 50s. So
Um, I'll check.
so using like the iconic robot as the sort of a design basis for these aliens is kind of like
1956.
okay, a little bit earlier, but still relative. I mean, 4 years. I mean, hell, 4 years ago we just got what was it in 2016? Uh, tons of things that don't feel that old. I just have a bad memory. That's all that is. But yeah, so I think that's kind of cool. And then we get to the ending, of course, which is she's killed one, the other one's got back to the ship, and she's like smashing the ship, but she stops at one point because she hears something, and it's in English. We hear someone over like a radio comm say, "We're in a land of giants. Don't send anyone else. We can't take them on. Don't do it." And she smashes it, and whoever's inside dies finally, and then the camera sort of like focuses on something we hadn't seen yet on the ship, which is the U.S. Space Force.
Air Force.
It was Air Force, sorry, but it was like
Yeah,
Space Probe
because
One or
at the
something
time
like
when they still thought that the Air Force would be the ones who would go into space.
that. Ah,
Yeah.
trust. That's right. Yes, I have to remember the context. This is like way before the moon landing. In my
Yeah.
head, yeah, I have to think about that. So that's the twist is that the aliens are actually humans. For some reason, in my head, because I remember the twist of this episode. In my head, I really thought we saw them at some point, like actually out of their suits. I thought we saw little humans at the end, but we don't. We just
No,
hear the
we hear
voice.
somebody and they're not credited.
What I like about this, because I was thinking about this as I was watching it, that I feel like most directors or most filmmakers would have her talking to herself throughout. Here or there, saying
Most
like,
episodes of the Twilight Zone would have that.
yeah, yelling, "Leave me alone," things like that. When it feels
Hmm.
appropriate. But it actually makes sense when you think about it, because even though TV and movies often ignore this very vital element, right? But the truth
Hmm.
is the alien should not be speaking English. So I think it's actually kind of neat that this actually leaves it open to the idea that no, she just doesn't speak English. She speaks, if there's a language she speaks something that we wouldn't understand or recognize.
Of course, there wouldn't be anything that looked like a human on another planet either, but that's just not how evolution would work.
Unless we all come from the same source and aliens dropped us off in two different planets at some point. No?
I like that idea. Where did that come from?
Look, I'm not saying I would believe that. I'm just saying, in theory, that would be one explanation for having humanoids that look the same
Hmm.
on a different planet. Uh,
Yeah, that's why
because
Star Trek covered it.
um, well, that's always been my explanation for Kryptonians. They're just humans, but born under the different sun. Kal-El
Mm,
gets his powers when he gets to the yellow sun. I know I'm being nerdy, but you brought up Star Trek,
fair play.
so deal with it. But the ending's fun. I mean, it's kind of a predictable ending. I mean, Tara did correctly guess the twist after we stopped recording the last episode. She said, "This
Yeah,
is."
but if I had watched it without knowing the twist, without
Hmm.
guessing the twist beforehand, like if I watched it as it aired and I saw little robot things, I might not have assumed that they were human.
Oh,
It might have been
sure.
like a twist that would really work. I thought it was kind of smart to use robot-looking spacesuits with laser guns.
Oh no, that's totally fair. But that's the thing though. Like you guessed that not because you remember the episode. You guessed it because it's a
You told
similar
me there was a
twist.
twist.
Well, there's usually a twist, but I think you guessed it because they've had the exact same twist essentially a couple of times already.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trope for Twilight Zone at this point.
Yeah, that the aliens are actually the humans. Or basically just that whatever one you think in the episode story is a human, flip it. It's the other ones that are humans, or the other planet's Earth, or the other, whatever it
Right.
is. Like that's become kind of a trope in Twilight Zone. So I think it was. I think it would be possible to guess if you'd been someone who'd watched all the episodes, if you remembered them well enough, because it is worth mentioning. Of course, people would have had a gap between season 1 and 2 at the time, and they'd had maybe not remembered all the episodes as well as we might do. But
Sure.
I think it's
Except
possible.
last time we last time we did the review, you said uh aliens end up at her house, but there's a twist. And I went, oh, well then obviously we're the aliens.
Okay, so you
That's
think
why I guessed it.
the way I phrased it is why you guessed
Yeah,
it. Okay, all right, all
yes.
right. I sorry
Not
I
that it's a
spoiled it.
surprise twist for the Twilight Zone, but
I'm sorry I said too
that's
much.
oh, it's all right.
To be fair, actually, wasn't I just reading the IMDb description? Was that my phrasing?
The twist part I think you added.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So
Uh,
don't apologize to me. Apologize to the people who also were spoiled.
I will take this moment to apologize for Tara.
Oh, this is getting turned around. So what a twist!
Somehow this is your fault. I'm not sure how yet, but somehow it is, and I'll find it. I'll figure it out.
All right.
Somehow, some way. Yeah. No, the episode's fun. I mean, it's this nice little suspenseful episode. It's not my favorite suspenseful episode though. I love the goofiness of it. I love the twist. But I do genuinely think the direction is a lot of fun and the lighting's a lot of fun. But I would definitely go with the mannequins in the department store as being a genuinely creepier, or even obviously Eye of the Beholder as being a creepier, unsettling kind of feel. This was more B movie goofy fun as opposed to
Yeah. It
genuine.
was also really cool, the decision not to let the main character speak the entire time. Like having a Twilight Zone with no dialogue that was still really interesting to watch was,
Mm.
you know, a big deal.
Yeah, I respect that. It forces the all the other elements to tell the story. So I find they have to get more creative, and that usually breeds good ideas. So
Exactly.
uh, yeah, so sometimes it's just smarter to have your character shut up and
Yes.
do a story like that. So
It's a brave move.
looking to the next episode, it's called A Penny for Your Thoughts. Serling at the end. It does look like we're getting the film again next week, so we still have 3 of those videotape episodes left. Where they're going to be, we'll find out. But next week, he talked about a person who ends up with telepathy. Basically, he doesn't use that word. I don't know if that word even was commonly used at the time when this was made, but that's what he says. Read minds. Here's the description. Although IMDb uses this word, gaining telepathic abilities when his coin lands on its edge bank. Clerk Hector B. Poole learns about the difference between other people's plans and fantasies. And Serling also said it gets him into a spot of bother. So
Yeah, okay. I think I remember this. I certainly remember the coin landing on its side being a thing.
I don't think I do remember it. I saw all of season 2 once upon a time, but I don't think I remember this. Maybe it'll come back to me as I'm watching it. But
Yeah. The visual of the coin being on its side and granting like an ability.
mm,
Um, yeah, I think I recall this one.
yeah, that's fair. Starring one Mr. Dick York. What a name. Notably, he was in a previous episode. He was in the Purple Testament episode. I knew I recognized his face from somewhere. So this is his second time in the Twilight Zone. That was the one where the soldier could keep seeing when everyone else was going to die. In the reflections, you could see them have a glow if they were going to be the next ones to go.
He wasn't the star though, right?
I don't think so. I think he was in the hospital bed maybe or something like that. He was definitely a prominent enough role because I remember his face. So that is next time. So we'll see you for that. But that has been this episode of the Twilight Zone, and we actually did make this over 10 minutes somehow. I guess we just waffled about talking about things. So thank you very much for watching. We always appreciate it. Do like on YouTube. Liking helps us a lot. Even if you're subscribed, it does help the YouTube algorithm spread us out to more people. Let it know that you recommend it to other people and that kind of thing. So please do that. You can do that for free, of course, but you can also support us for some monies, can't they, Tara?
Why, sure. If you like our content, you like what we do, and you want to support the show and the channel, check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate $1 per month, the bare bones minimum, you will get rewarded by getting these episodes a day early, right?
No, that's $5.
Oh. You will be rewarded
Also,
with bonus episodes of other shows we do.
Also, it's a week early for Twilight Zone, but that's what that here.
Oh. One day.
Somehow,
One day I'll get it right.
You've actually been doing the main part perfect for a while. I've just been trying to train you to add in the $5 part, and somehow you let that mess up the whole thing.
I told you, I have Kelly Bundy syndrome. I learn something new and something old has to go. I don't decide what.
You did hit the big 2.5 a while ago now, so I guess that was a joke in the show. There was a scene where she was with her friends and said, one day we're going to hit that big 2.5 and then it's all downhill from there. That was a joke in the show.
What show?
Are with Children.
Oh.
You brought up Kelly Bundy.
I've learned a lot of new things since I watched that show. The review's over. They're not listening anymore.
Thank you very much once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. And the Twilight Zone.